On to part 2 of my own attempt at drawing Godzilla. Part 1 saw us create a head for Godzilla, along with establishing a colour palette for the rest of the drawing, which saw me finally find a use for this awesome neon pink Prismacolor pencil. Today we can move on to the body, and see if we can incorporate some sort of background too. I'm really winging this part. I struggled finding reference images I could use, so I'm just scratching away and adding bits of skin detail and whatnot here and there. I've given him an almost humanoid musculature, with pectorals and deltoids being prevalent. I mean, he runs on his back legs and uses his arms like we do, so it stands to reason he would have an exaggerated human form to some extent. You might notice I'm redoing sections constantly on this one, erasing bits out, redoing it and so on. It's quite an experimental piece. I'm just playing around with different techniques and seeing what achieves the effect I'm visualising in my head. I tried to add some smoke to the bottom of the draw and I'm not really sure why. I was trying to envisage like clouds surrounding him or smoke coming up from the ground, but I just wasn't really feeling it, so I got rid of that pretty quick. You might be able to tell, but at this stage I did feel like the drawing was getting away from me a little bit. Whatever I tried just didn't work out to achieve the result I'd imagined. But sometimes as you work through the brick wall, suddenly things start to fall in place. It's not always like this though, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you end up just starting all over again after 25 hours of work. But that wasn't the case in this one. Suddenly I got a new wave of enthusiasm. I mentioned in part 1 I was going to revisit the back spikes to make them look more organic and less geometric. Once I did this bit, I started to quite like the drawing again. I think it's just because I knew I was going to have to redo that section. It was kind of hanging over me. It was then just a case of tying it all together. What I mean by this is ensuring the areas closest to the sun have the light cast down onto them, and the lighting on the rest of the drawing is conceivable. But there we go, Godzilla. I really hope you like how this one turned out. Of course, Kong up next.